Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Libra energy, and like usual, on this channel we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Libra energy. The bottom row, had a big clump come out. The bottom row, a more worldly, shadowy Libra energy, because we all have our dualistic nature of free will and we have to make decisions in our life. And the bottom row can just represent that we kind of like to stay in our comfort zone instead of doing something different, changing our habits, how we view life, how we view ourselves. We can be moving forward in life differently, but we can still have to deal with some of our fears and our insecurities that we have. It's part of human nature. So some people could be struggling within themselves to maybe make a decision about doing life a little differently. Since we're talking about Libra energy, it could be Libra's represented by the scales of justice, of what we think is just and fair. Are we in situations with people where we think they act just and fair? Are we being just and fair? Do we think the same things are just and fair? And Libra can be, just kind of what our truth is. And sometimes our truth is different. In the bottom row, the reason for the reading coming out is the Nine of Swords, which is Gemini energy, which is about our dualistic nature. What is my truth? In my Gemini nature, I can make my life more about me or the world or my fear or my lust or my greed or my laziness or whatever. My self-indulgent nature, stay where I'm at. The nines and the tens can also talk about the fact that, we could feel like we're kind of getting to an end of a cycle. And we all go through different phases of life where we think and feel certain ways and view life certain ways. And we go through that cycle of life to kind of help us get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. And then when we complete a cycle in like the 9 and the 10, we kind of see what needs to be left behind and what things they should take with, because that experience helped us get more clear about what our truth was. And some people could be at a phase of their life where, it's that last sword of truth, because we're at the 9. To do the 10, we'd have to really deal with maybe some core foundational truth. What is it that really drives and motivates me? Am I more inspired to have hope and faith and belief in myself and in love and have hope and faith and belief in other people? Or am I more about myself or the world or my fear or my codependency or whatever it could be, right? So some people could be really struggling with closing out an old cycle and detaching from an old way of living life or viewing life or dreams that they could have had and wanted to have come into reality. The reason for the top rose reading is the Three of Pentacles, which is Capricorn energy. Shadowy Capricorn energy is represented by the Devil, which are all these things that can manipulate us, that make us want to stay in our comfort zone, make our life more about some things of the world or our ego or our fear. High vibe Capricorn is about before the Two of Pentacles, or before the Three of Pentacles is the Two of Pentacles, which can kind of be going back and forth about what is my truth. Is it this or is it that? Some people work through what they needed to work through, and the truth sets us free. And in high vibe, adding a pentacle to the Two of Pentacles means you saw the truth. You worked through something to not be going back and forth anymore, and you freed yourself from something that could have had you up in your head. So let's go look at the bottom row first. We have the Ace of Swords, the Moon, the Lovers, the Justice card, which is Libra energy, and the Hierophant. So there was a point in time in our life that we had completed one cycle, or again, we didn't, because we can get to the Nine of Swords and we can decide, no, 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 no. I'm not ready to do life differently, or I'm not ready to give up on this or something. And we go back to kind of repeating that pattern. And we'll all repeat a pattern over and over and over until we're willing to deal with the truth. And there's some people in the world that there's some truth that kind of manipulates them that they might not want to see the truth of. So they keep repeating a pattern over and over and over. Other people got out of one thing, got into a new thing, new way of living life, viewing life. They could be moving forward in life differently, but they're still having to deal with their fears and insecurities like we all do as they're moving forward in it. But so we can all have fears about moving forward in life a little differently. The Moon card can talk about, do we listen to our intuition, or do we want to stay in denial of the truth? Then we have the Lover's card, the Justice card, the Hierophant. The Lover's card can be what we love, which could be, I love myself, I love these things of the world, I like living more from my mind than my heart. But some people, the Moon can represent kind of having illusions about relationships. We either deal with the truth of our own fears and insecurities about loving ourselves, getting balanced within ourselves, and see the truth of kind of what manipulates us so that we can close out a cycle. And then we move forward in life differently. But some people keep repeating a pattern that they don't think they need to see the truth. They don't need to work through whatever it is that manipulates them. And they kind of, it could be the Moon can represent their fears or things that they want to keep buried beneath the surface that they don't want to deal with. They could look to other things or people to be the answer to their problems. Because the Hierophant can represent all these different institutions of the world, or it can represent relationships. I know, I'll go get a new job, I'll go get a new friend, I'll go get in a new relationship, I'll put in more work and effort to have more status or image or power or influence or my attractiveness or my charm or, what is our truth that we think is the answer? And some people don't think they need to work through their fears or their insecurities or their pride or their ego or their stubbornness or their immature nature or their self-indulgent nature or just these illusions that they could have about what it means to work together with people in a relationship of any sort. Workplaces, friendships, romantic. Their truth could be that they like to stay in denial of some truth, that maybe they are more aligned with their more worldly nature, self-nature, materialistic nature, something, or whatever it is they could indulge in to make themselves feel better. But they don't want to see the truth, that that's what they look to be the answer to making them feel better. Love is the answer to making us feel better. Dealing with the truth is what makes us feel better. But some people don't want to believe it's love is the answer. They could have a fear of love. But they could like to be in relationships. And somehow, they rationalize that and say it's just and fair. I want to be in a relationship. But then they can get in relationships and they have all this fear about even being in a relationship. don't trust other people, have a fear of love, because the moon can represent our fear, so they have a fear in the lover's card of love. Some people, their fear could be being more just and fair. I have these illusions about what it means to be in a relationship, and the truth could be that I don't want to see is that I align with my more worldly egoic nature where it's kind of more about me. And I hide the fact that I love me. And, in a more shadowy sense where it's just more about me. But they want to be in relationships with people. And then, but they hide from love. They hide from maybe being more just and fair. Shadowy energy can represent that people are kind of tipped out of balance. But they might not want to see the truth of that either. So I'm bossy, so I'm controlling, so I'm immature, so I'm more about myself, so I'm more about ego and image, so I look more to these other things to make me feel better, or more stable, or grounded, or successful, or victorious in life. I don't want to see the truth that I do have things that manipulate me. And we can all get in relationships with people. The moon can be that we're all kind of caught up in the illusion of love and that we think it's going to be just and fair. And that in the Hierophant, we're going to have this relationship that where people act with character and integrity. People are more just and fair and motivated and inspired by love. What happens if we get in a job, a friendship, or relationship, and from the one sword, which is kind of like getting into something, and over a period of time, we have a lot of things to work out in relationships and jobs and things like that. Well, what do you think about this? Well, what do you think about that? Are we compatible on this? Are we compatible on that? How do you view this? What drives and motivates you? What if we do all that, and the difference between the one sword and the 9 of swords is the 8 of swords, which again is Gemini energy of when we kind of find out in our Gemini energy of our dualistic nature that some of the people we got in a relationship with who we could love and we could want things to work out with, that we harness our Gemini energy differently and our Libra energy differently. Their truth is different than my truth. What kind of drives and motivates them isn't really necessarily what drives and motivates me. If I'm motivated and inspired, high vibe energy is being more independent, healing and growing and maturing yourself, facing your fears, dealing with the truth, being more just and fair. And shadowy people can try to create the illusion they're more like high vibe than they are. They're more stable, they're more grounded, they're more mature, they're more whatever than they really are. And then as we go through a relationship, kind of negotiating all these different things and kind of getting to know each other, and then we could realize that some people are kind of more up in a mental prison about love. But they could want to stay in the relationship. But then we're in a relationship with someone who's defensive to love. So they kind of operate from their more defensive egoic nature than freeing themselves and working through those things that manipulate them to be more authentically themselves and more hopeful and believing in love and working together with you more cooperatively from love. And then we can be stressed when we find ourselves in a more mismatched situation about ending it because, we kind of had these illusions that we'd all get on the same page. And sadly, we might come to realize and start to kind of get the impression that some people just do create an illusion that they are more just, fair, stable, balanced, loving, ready to move forward in something new. But they're really not. And they might have thought they were ready too, until it gets to be that they have to detach from an old way of being, thinking, living, be more independent of the past, of their fear, of their ego or whatever, to move forward in life differently. And then it's like, but I have these fears. Or, well, I think it's just and fair. I think you should stay in this job or this relationship because I'm willing to stay in this job or relationship. But I might do it more out of my fear. I might do it more because, well, we're in a relationship. We should stay in a relationship. It's like, but why? What's the driving factor in it? Well, and that's where the Three of Pentacles is the reason why the top rose reading came out. Some people in their more worldly nature, because the Three of Pentacles being Capricorn energy is earth sign energy, and Libra being air sign energy, it can be, well, this makes practical, logical sense. We're in a relationship. We should stay in a relationship. We don't want to get out of a relationship. Don't you want to be in a relationship? Well, then we should stay in a relationship. But why? Is it motivated and inspired by love? Or is it more out of fear and insecurity and I want to be in a relationship, you want to be in a relationship, we should just stay in it? Or maybe because of Capricorn and the Hierophant is Taurus energy, which is earth sign energy, we could have, in earth sign energy, we could have stability and security, we could have status, we could have image. We don't want to walk away from that, do we? The only thing is that some of the people who are really more driven and motivated to get in a relationship and stay in a relationship for those reasons do try to create an illusion that they're more motivated and inspired by love, but that's not the truth. It's more of these other reasons, but they're just hoping if they create an illusion that they're more motivated and inspired by love, that by the time you do see the truth, that they were just kind of creating an illusion because of their fears or their insecurities or their want for stability or security or ego or image or status or to be in a relationship, enjoy the perks of being in a relationship. But it's just the illusion of love. And that can be where people are living more from their mind than their heart and more from their ego nature. Like, I'm smart. I know how to act. I know how to conduct myself. I know how people who are loving and nurturing and supportive and just and fair and balanced act. I'm going to act like that. But it's just kind of the illusion. And it's kind of more of a mental construct. It's not really authentically who they are and what drives and motivates them. And eventually when people who kind of live their life like that get in relationships with people, the other people are kind of believing in the illusion of how they present themselves. And they think, oh my gosh, this person's motivated and inspired by love. They're more stable. They're more grounded. They're more emotionally mature. Maybe think they look at life from a higher perspective, that not so much about themselves or ego and image. I mean, we all want stability and security and would like to enjoy the finer things in life, but it can be hard to work through the illusions that we had of people. We can get in relationships with people and we think, oh, well, they're motivated and inspired by what I'm motivated and inspired by, which at a core foundational level in your Gemini energy of truth is love. And then you kind of realize that that really isn't what drives and motivates them. And they could have a lot of fear of love. And that it could be more of these other reasons that drive them and want to be in a relationship with people. And some people right now could be seeing that, about some of the friendships or relationships or jobs that they're in, that people kind of created an illusion that we're these just and fair and supportive and encouraging people, that, as time goes by, there's kind of room to keep growing and maturing yourself here. And then you get in it and you can realize that they have more fear about really putting that into practice than they implied. And we'd all like those things to work. But, just like taking a job, I don't feel like anything's ever going to change here. Or you created this illusion that you were these encouraging and supportive people. And then I could have gotten in the relationship or the job and found out you are more stubborn. That's like shadowy Taurus, that you're more stubborn or controlling. Shadowy Libra can be kind of controlling. And, this is what we think is just and fair, or I think is just and fair. And then you should think this is just and fair, and you want this job, or you want this friendship, or you want this relationship. And they count on the fact that they hope other people will have fear of leaving because, in a lot of ways, it seems like they have what we want in the world. We have a job, we have a friendship, we have a relationship, we have community, we might have stability and security. And they're hoping that, we've probably all worked for bad bosses and bad supervisors. And they're just hoping that if there's more about it that would make you not want to leave, that you'll keep staying in it, even if those people could be kind of maybe immature or these other shadowy things I mentioned, or they seem to have a lot of fears and insecurities, and it kind of affects the decisions that they make and how they interact with people. And it's just like, oh my gosh, you have me kind of up in a mental prison because I'm kind of seeing how you like to operate and function, and what you kind of think is just and fair, I don't think is just and fair. And then the high vibe people have to work through their fears of, and even if it's not leaving a job, just the fact that you can work with other people that are kind of more shadowy, a little bit more about themselves, a little more prideful, try to get you up in your head, try to, shadowy energy can be where people want to try to manipulate you and bother you with the fact that they don't really work together with you in a just and fair way. And that maybe because you're a loving person, it'll bother you and keep thinking like you can change people, and that you'll keep working with them to try to change them. And eventually some high vibe people have learned enough lessons in life that, does it bother me when people act shadowy, immature, bossy, controlling, stubborn, egotistical, whatever? Yeah. But I listen to my intuition, and I have the free will choice in my Gemini energy not to get up in my head about it. It's kind of more like, thank you for showing me the truth of what you think is just and fair and how you conduct yourself in the workplace, in relationships, in friendships. Thank you for showing me the truth. And now that you show me the truth, I can know that I can close out a cycle with you, that you're not someone I want to invest more time and energy in. Because I've already dealt with people who are like that. Might I still have to work with you? Yeah. But basically, if I don't have to, I will kind of keep my distance from you. And I'm going to conduct myself in a way that's aligned with my truth. I'm just now aware and intuitive about the truth of what drives and motivates them. And it's not working together with people with character and integrity, high vibe Taurus, in a just and fair way, high vibe Libra, motivated by love. They have some issues they need to deal with that they haven't dealt with. And I accept the truth of it. I work through it. I choose to focus on truth and love. I'm going to let them have their free will to act whatever way they want. And I'm going to focus more of my attention on freeing myself from being up in my head about people who are like that. You do you. Note taken about the type of person you choose to be. And I'm going to focus my time, energy, effort on closing out a cycle with you, or if I was in a relationship with you, or I'm not going to be that involved in a relationship with you. You might still be in my life, you might still be in my workplace, but yeah, no, I'm not. Shadowy energy tries to manipulate and control us. Our own fear and want for some of these things in the world can get us up in our head. And if we get up in our head and we don't listen to our intuition and maintain balance within ourselves and take action in character and integrity out of love for ourselves, we're probably going to take action more out of fear and insecurity and lust and greed and codependency and all those things. And some people have already done that, and it's like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. When I plant bad seeds, I'm going to reap a bad harvest. If I keep not wanting to deal with the truth of other people who are kind of planting bad seeds, it's going to be a bad harvest. If I want to have my dreams come into reality, I need to maintain balance within myself, love myself, see the truth of how my own fears and insecurities and things like that can manipulate me. I need to see the truth when I see other people's fears and insecurities or pride or ego is manipulating them, and I deal with the truth of it and stay free of indulging in it. So then, let's go up to the top row. We have the Eight of Pentacles, the Magician, the Two of Cups, the Page of Swords, the Ten of Wands, the Nine of Cups, the Five of Pentacles, and the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups can talk about that we can be sad that other people, in their free will, are still manipulated by things that, and have these illusions maybe about what it means to work together with other people cooperatively. And we can be sad about it, but I'm not missing an opportunity in love, because I can only miss an opportunity in love with people who work together with me in love. But the Four of Cups can be that you're sad about the Three of Cups, that we want to work together with people cooperatively from love. Well, we can't make other people work cooperatively with us from love if they have fear of working together with people cooperatively from love. So would we have liked to work with them cooperatively? Yes. But they have to work through their own issues that stop them from being free. And the Three of Pentacles talks about working together with people more cooperatively from love. So the Eight of Pentacles can talk about, I see the truth that the Eight of Pentacles comes after the Seven of Pentacles, and the Seven of Pentacles is Taurus energy. Everybody has their philosophy of life. Taurus is like the Supreme Court in everybody's head. They've debated back and forth within themselves about what they think is just and fair and how they want to act and live their life. Everybody has their philosophy of life. And I see the truth. Their philosophy of life is a little different. It's kind of maybe a little shadowy or a little manipulative or defensive or prideful or immature, whatever. And I see the truth of it. And then the Magician, the Eight of Pentacles is Virgo energy, and the Magician is Gemini and Virgo energy. High Vibe Virgo energy is, I have learned lessons in life. I have had a philosophy of life where I did invest in people, and it used to really get me up in my head when those people didn't work with me cooperatively in a more just and fair and authentic and loving way. But I've already been there and done that, and everybody has free will in their Gemini energy. I'm not going to get up in my head about it and get up in my ego about it. Everybody has free will to choose to act and react and respond and interact and pursue things in their life whatever way they want. And if that's not my truth, I get out of shadowy energy, which is being in our ego about it. I just accept the truth. That's where they're at. People who are more just and fair are more just and fair. People who are more loving are more loving. People who are able to work together with people more cooperatively, regardless of whatever shadowy natures they might have, they work together with people more cooperatively. And some people don't. And I'm not going to stay in my ego about it. I accept the truth because the truth sets me free. And the difference between the Eight of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles is the Five of Pentacles, which is also Taurus energy. The Five of Pentacles can talk about feeling a little bit left out in the cold. Well, yeah, when people aren't working together with you in a just and fair and authentic and loving or more cooperative way, it can kind of make you a little sad that they're not working together and moving forward with you because you're trying to move things forward and work cooperatively with people. But the high vibe people do this work within themselves. And at the end here, we have the Five of Pentacles. And from the 8 down to the 5, we let go of the Three of Pentacles. I can't work in a more just and fair and stable and grounded way with people who aren't willing to work together with me from that same foundation. Again, could I still have to work with them? Yes. But I see the truth of it. They operate from a different foundation. They operate more from their worldly, egoic nature, whatever that can represent. Fear, insecurity, pride, ego, being more manipulative, being more immature, being more self-centered, whatever it is. I accept the truth of it. And I see from here to here that, that's too bad. I would have liked to work together with you, but I can only work together with people. I'm only willing to invest more time, energy, and effort into people who do work together with me more cooperatively in a just and fair way. And apparently you don't. So in the Five of Pentacles, I'm going to move on from you. I let you hold on to the foundation that you want to hold on to. Live your life the way you want to live it. Your truth is different than my truth. What you think is just and fair is different than what I think is just and fair. All types of folks in the world. I just know you're not someone I want to invest more time, energy, and effort into. So in the Magician, the high vibe people align with their more high vibe Gemini, Virgo energy of dealing with the truth. Everyone's got free will. And the high vibe people in their Two of Cups, the Two of Cups and the Four of Cups is Cancer energy, emotional water sign energy about love. Well, that might not be what they're in their free will aligned with. And I accept the truth of that. But I am. And in the Page of Swords, which can represent your Libra, your Aquarius, and your Gemini energy, I have a dream. And I have my truth. I have that hopeful, believing spirit in hope and faith and belief in myself and in my dreams and in love and in other people. But when other people show me the truth of what drives and motivates them, and it's not that, then in the Ten of Wands, it's closing out a cycle to go have a new beginning or take more inspired action towards someone else. Kind of like picking up your sticks. Like, yeah, I'm not going to keep trying to play with you because you seem to have some issues about working together cooperatively from love. And I move forward, and then the Nine of Cups can talk about emotionally not being caught up in the illusion or the confusion or the whatever about it, to offer yourself in the Four of Cups, that cup of love, to be more independent of people who are a little more shadowy, and keep moving forward, taking that cup of love and offering that cup of love to other people. I'll go find other people who do want to work together with me more cooperatively, because some of these people in my life showed me that's not their truth. So some high vibe people are investing their time, energy, and effort into the people in their life who are working together with them more cooperatively. And the people who aren't, just kind of like wishing them peace, and they're focused on what can be. And can we all be sad that there's people in our life that we did want to work together with more cooperatively? Well, I think high vibe people aren't operating from their ego. They probably did communicate their truth to people. I would like to work with you more cooperatively in a more just and fair and loving way. And the other people, they still kind of have these illusions, though. You know, whether it's brother, sister, adult children, parent, neighbor, coworkers, they have these illusions about relationships, and they have their idea of what they think is just and fair, and they kind of have their philosophy of life, and they want to keep doing that. And they might have fear of the fives can talk about change. They could have things that they work with, that they, and the pentacle suits can represent that you invest your time, energy, and effort into, which can even just be a way of thinking. And they're doing what they're doing, thinking it will make them happy or keep them safe. I view the King Libra energy as also represented by the King of Swords. And the King of Swords can be our own internal, like emotionally defensive nature. You're not going to be more independent in the world. You're not going to live your more authentic life. You're not going to be more independent of your fearful nature or your defensive nature or your worldly nature or your self-protective nature. You get hurt out there. And that's what some people's truth is that they align with. You know, we've all been hurt before. We've all been in relationships with people where things didn't work out the way we wanted. And some people decided, that's it, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going to hide from love. If I get in relationships with people and I'm moving forward with them, and those people kind of work through some of their fears and their self-learning beliefs and learn to love themselves, and then they want me to work through some of my issues, to take that cup of love, to free myself from things that manipulate me. No, I'm not doing that. That's too scary. And so sometimes, you know, if we're immature, if we're bossy, if we're controlling, if we're egotistical, if we're more about ourselves, more about the world, more about ego and image, we're going to have some people in our life who distance themselves from us. And the people who distance themselves could be sad, but until those people work through those issues, it's kind of trying to illuminate the truth that, and you could have seen the truth, that they do have these things that manipulate them, and they have to free themselves, because otherwise they want you to stay in it, kind of living more from your mind than your heart. This does make logical, practical sense for these reasons. But it's never being free to, and some people have a lot of fear of being more independent of things that manipulate them, even if it's the world, making their life more about the world and their ego or their image or money and materialism, or being more about themselves, or have other people in their life that they're codependent on, that they're not willing to be more independent of, to go live their more authentic life. You can see the truth of it, and they kind of hope that, you know, because you love them, that you'll let the things that manipulate them manipulate you too. And it's like, but those things don't manipulate me the way they manipulate you. And some people have a way of living life caught up in the illusion of the world, want to live their life a certain way, trying to get other people to get in relationship with them. But you can see where it's kind of a little bit more about their idea, you know? If you're going to work together with other people, Like I mentioned, the Three of Pentacles comes after the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles can be, well, I have my truth and my dreams and things that I want to manifest and what I think is a just and fair and stable and grounded and loving relationship. And you have your idea. Well, then we work together from love to bring that dream into reality. And that can be the sticking point. It's like, love? Well, I thought we were going to do it more because of these reasons. And I thought we were going to stay in it more because of these reasons. And that's why I get in them and why I want to stay in them. And I thought you were always going to stay in a mental prison and be more about these things of the world or codependency or whatever. I didn't think you would ever free yourself from things that manipulated you to be more motivated and inspired to live your more authentic life and be more independent of your fear or your codependency or your being more about these things of the world. But some of you work through those things. It's like my inner child nature wants me to quit making my life more about these things to be more independent. To let go of making my life more about these things, to see the truth of how those things manipulate me, and to take that cup of love and free myself to live my more authentic life. And I know I might go through a period of feeling left out in the cold, but I can't live a life of illusion. I can't create this illusion of how wonderful and happy my life is when I feel it might have more in of these things of the world that I might want, but it's lacking in deep, meaningful, authentic, loving, and encouraging relationships. And that might be okay for people who like to live more from their mind than their heart, who are more about those things of the world. But high vibe energy is, I want a balance. There's always a price to be paid in our Gemini energy of free will. If we're going to take that job, we can't take that job. If we're going to date this person, we maybe can't date that person. If we're going to marry this person, we can't marry that person. There's a sacrifice kind of that has to be made. And some people are willing to sacrifice the truth that it's supposed to be about love because they maybe don't really want to do love to begin with. They really are more about being in a relationship to get the justice they think they deserve, just being in a relationship to be in a relationship, or more for the status or the ego or the image, because that's more what drives and motivates them, or being more about themselves and being more about them. That also is a shadowy Taurus relationship that anyone in their philosophy of life can have. Where if I have more of these things of the world that I think that people want, then you should be willing to kind of indulge me more in a relationship. I have these illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. I like to create the illusion I'm loving, but I'm really a little bit more about myself because I might think I look a certain way. I have a certain status. I have power, influence, money, whatever they think they got. That you should be willing to be in a mental prison and not be willing to see the truth because you want these things too. And some people are like, do I want some of these things? Would I like to be in a relationship? Could I love you? Yeah. But I'm not willing to do a more shadowy Taurus relationship where it's a more transactional relationship. We are supposed to be working together, motivated and inspired by love, but you seem to have this kind of weird view of love, that it's a little bit more about you. And I want to work together with people who, in their Gemini, Virgo, Libra energy, have been illuminated to the truth. I'm supposed to work together with people from truth and love. I'm supposed to let my more hopeful, believing inner child come out to play in the world. I'm supposed to learn lessons. The Ten of Wands is Sagittarius, about how learning lessons in life. I'm meant to put in this work and effort to free myself from things that manipulate me so I can be more emotionally fulfilled and independent and move forward in life, taking that cup of love to be free to live my authentic life. Some of you are doing that. Some of the people that you could have moved away from, they could be really stressed because they don't free themselves from what manipulates them. They didn't think you would free yourself. They have things and people in their life that they love that they don't want to become independent from. And if those things manipulate them, and if some of those things are bossy and controlling and cause them stress and anxiety, they deal with it. They're not willing to go through a period of feeling left out in the cold to stand up, high vibe King of Swords, high vibe Libra, for their truth and getting the justice they deserve in the world. And they let all these things manipulate them. So since they let those things manipulate them, they thought you would never free yourself, but you did. And now some of those people are kind of stressed because you are moving forward. You are closing out cycles. You are more independent. You've gotten out of your ego and your inner conflict. You know, could you feel a little sad because, you would have liked to have those people more involved in your life, whoever they are? Yeah. But I'm not going to work and invest more time and energy and effort into people who seem to have a problem with working together with me in a more just and fair and authentic and loving way. I will let you live your life the way you want to live it. And I'm going to go find people in the world who I think are more independent, who have worked through some of their issues that aren't repeating a certain pattern or a phase of life. We can meet people, they can be of any age range, right? But we are all at like different maturity levels, and we've learned different lessons in life than some other people. Some people we meet, no matter how old they are, they're all about the illusion and trying to present this illusion about what type of person they are, and it can just seem more superficial and shallow. We can meet people who are more, they act like a teenage bully or kind of gossipy, backstabbing type energy. You can meet 50 and 60-year-olds that act like 15-year-olds, right? Well, if we've already been there and done that, and I don't like to hang around with people like that, so you move away from them, right? And then those people have more people that kind of saw the truth and weren't willing to indulge them in their shadowy ways of being, and the other people moved on. The truth is, some of the shadowy people could view some people as just, fair, stable, grounded, loving people, but because of their own fears or insecurities or lack of self-worth or fear of rejection, they in turn reject people first because they get all caught up in their head. Well, it takes practice, and some people kind of give in more to their fear or their insecurity or whatever than putting more effort into tempering their fearful nature or egoic nature or bossy nature to have things work out a little bit more successfully for them. What's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Libra energy? And we all could have some fears of love. It's just that and trusting other people. But the high vibe people listen to their intuition. Are people working together with me, seeming authentic and just and fair? There's no guarantees in life. But so long as they are, I'm going to keep moving forward with them. And, For some people, it can mean that I can't indulge in other things that in my more shadowy nature I might want to go do. But, we've kind of grown up from our more immature, self indulgent nature. And, what's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Libra energy that they might not see coming? We have two cards not showing themselves, and the reason it came out is because of the Four of Pentacles. Well, for one thing, we can always stay in the energy of love, and we keep moving forward from the Five of Pentacles to the Three of Pentacles. We're not juggling the truth. We know the truth, and we know who to hold back from and not invest more of our time, energy, and effort into, and we know who to hold on to. And the people in our life who are going on this journey with us, working together in this way, yeah, are some things a missed opportunity? Yeah. But we're working together with people who are working together with us in truth and love. We could go be more immature. We could be more self-indulgent. We could be more about ourselves if we wanted to. But some high-vibe people have already learned that if I do that, it's definitely not going to turn out the way I want. May I not have all the things of the world that I want, or as much of it? Maybe not, but do I have loving and encouraging people? And I believe that the divine, if we're putting in the work and effort and acting with character and integrity, I kind of think in a way we will end up with more than enough. Because the divine works with us and judgment kind of goes in our favor. As high vibe people are moving forward, knowing who to hold back from, who to hold on to, and the Four of Pentacles also comes after the Three of Pentacles. Seeing the truth. Moving forward in truth. And love. Feeling stable and grounded within yourself. As you go through this process, and you might not be moving forward yet with something new, because you're still going through this process. You're still working through this process to free yourself kind of emotionally from some of these issues in your past, so that when you move forward in something new, you are ready to commit to it. And as you're doing this, what some people don't know about you with these cards not showing themselves is that you're doing this work within yourself to detach from harnessing these energies in a more worldly, shadowy way, and detaching and letting go of people in your life who you see do still harness it in a more shadowy way, and working to harness it in a more high vibrational way. The King or the Six of Wands and the Nine of Swords. So in our more worldly, egoic nature, the Six of Wands is Leo energy. In our more egoic nature, there's a part of us that would like to go take some action to do something that we feel would maybe make us look victorious or successful, or kind of indulge our ego. But we're holding back from doing that, and we might know some other people who do that. Because it's hard work closing out a cycle. It's kind of like we can always want to move forward in life differently, but until we've really learned the lesson we've meant to learn, we're going maybe back and forth. We're going to sit in this energy. And there's a part of us that would rather ignore the truth too. And I don't want to have to keep putting in this work and effort. But because you already know the truth, the pattern's going to end up the same if we keep repeating the same patterns, or acting the same way, thinking the same way, getting in similar type relationships. And so what people don't know about you is you're taking this inspired action to work through your fears, your insecurities, your self-limiting beliefs, so that you can move forward victoriously, aligning with, in your high vibe Gemini energy, staying focused on truth and love and justice and fairness. And because other people are kind of standing up for their truth and defending it and acting out on it, and every day they keep doing what they do, it kind of shows you that their truth isn't the same as your truth. And working through accepting that truth, not letting people get you up in your head, people who aren't working with you. Your dreams can only come into reality with people who are working together with you in truth and love and justice and fairness. And as you keep moving forward in that way, eventually you will have completed the cycle and you will be free. You will no longer be up in your head and in your ego about it, because you keep staying focused on truth and love. And I think as you do that, other people see you could go take action more out of lust and greed and pride and ego and all that stuff, but you're not. And other people see, and there's other people in the world who've done that also, and they're kind of waiting for someone to come up the path of life who's done some of the same things they've done, who've detached from these more a certain phase of life that they were in, just like they have. And then that person is going to want to hold on to you. And as you're moving forward, you're looking for other people to come up the path of life. And then, when we meet people because of these lessons that we've learned not to get all up in our head. We've learned to listen to our intuition. We've learned to listen to love and maintain balance within ourselves and temper our fears and insecurities and act with character and integrity, and to have hope and faith and belief in ourselves and in the other people, and to listen to our intuition to make our decisions more than our fear and our insecurities. And then we are able to work more cooperatively together with people from love. And just like you are doing that work within yourself, other people you don't even know yet in your life could be doing that. There's always going to be other people who are like, hey, I want to be the next person to go indulge in a relationship with that person. And I think as you meet people and they're being kind of shadowy or immature or manipulative, you'll know to hold back from them, even though there's a part of you that could want to go indulge them in some way. It's like my intuition tells me that, they're in that same type of energy, the same way of living life or viewing life. And I've already been there and I've already done that. And I'm going to keep moving forward. And as other people see that, you're not just going to indulge anyone. There's some people who do that work within themselves to close out a cycle, be more independent of their fear, being more about themselves or thinking it should be more about themselves, and they move forward with you. So what's coming up for people who might harness a more worldly, shadowy Libra energy that they might not see coming? The Knight of Wands and the Seven of Swords. Why? Because of the Knight, or the Nine of Pentacles. So, well, we all have lessons to learn. The Ten of Wands up here and the Knight of Wands are Sagittarius energy. And we've all got lessons to learn. And if we're still more inspired by the world, things of the world, wanting to go indulge in things of the world, make our life more about these things of the world, or wanting to, maybe for some people, just stay single. They haven't learned to listen to their intuition and look at life from a higher perspective. and they kind of get deceived and manipulated by their more worldly nature. And then there's other people in their life who can kind of deceive and manipulate them because they have some lessons to learn. And I think they're going to be deceived and manipulated. And at some future point in time, they will realize they were deceived and manipulated by these things that manipulate them. Whether it's their fear and their insecurity or their lust or their greed or being more about themselves. There's always going to be other people in the world that are happy they're in this energy. Other people weren't happy that they were in this energy, and those people left. But there's always going to be other people that are like, you could have moved forward with some people who are being authentic and just and fair and loving, but you held back from them. So you have a fear of love? Perfect. Me too. Are you more about these things of the world, more about ego and image and money and materialism maybe? Me too. Perfect. Do you want to be an immature player or something? That's shadowy Knight of Wands. Me too. Do you not want to be in relationships where you have to grow or heal and mature yourself? Perfect. Me too. And then they might, that would be a just and fair relationship for them to be in a relationship with someone who's like themselves. Because what's unjust and unfair is to be in a relationship with someone who is more mature, balanced, stable, authentic, and loving when you know that's not the truth of who you are. And these things that are more important to them, they will go make those things more important in their life. But it might be being more inspired to be about themselves or these things of the world than really working together cooperatively. And they might have some other people who come in their life who create the illusion they're loving and that they're these just and fair people who want to be in a relationship with them and act with character and integrity, maybe to have this certain status or image or indulge in these things they might like to indulge in. But those people could be kind of putting on a show. And in shadowy energy, it's kind of more about how it benefits you. And some other people might want to be in a relationship with some of these other more shadowy, worldly focused people for how it will benefit them. And I think one day they'll realize that those people really didn't have their best intentions at heart. And some of the people in their life who want them to keep living their life this way, do we not want to grow to our full potential and be more proud of ourselves that we did grow to our full potential, that we faced our fears, instead of like I keep indulging my more fearful nature or my more immature nature or my more lustful, greedy nature, And as they keep doing that, they could have other people in their life who might kind of become more independent of them because they kind of don't view them the way they maybe used to at one point in time because they keep kind of indulging themselves in some way or making their life more about themselves, basically. And if they have some high vibe people in their life who have been kind of buying into the illusion, who are single and abundant and inspired by love, I think some of those people are going to communicate with them that, I've been in this long enough trying to get things to move forward, but I wanted to stay in denial of the truth that I don't think you really want to move this forward in the way that I want to move it forward. And some of the high vibe people in their life are going to communicate to them that, I did look at life from a higher perspective, and I'm listening to my intuition. And because I know my worth and value, even though there's a part of me in the Seven of Swords is Aquarius energy, if I have a dream, I'm not going to keep indulging you in whatever way I have kind of been indulging you. And I'm going to stand up for myself, and I'm going to listen to my intuition, and I'm going to start putting in this work and effort to love and believe in myself and do the process within myself of emotionally detaching from you. Because as the high vibe people in their life try to motivate and inspire them to close out a cycle or a way of living life or viewing life or being in their fear or their defensiveness or being more about themselves, they keep doing it because that kind of is their truth. And they might want people to stay in a relationship with them, but they never really want to move forward and manifest this new beginning, is what the Page of Swords can talk about. They want to keep like doing this forever. And some people are like, apparently this is what you want to do forever, and I want to put work and effort to manifest a new beginning, and apparently you don't, and I've wanted to stay in denial of it for a long time, maybe, and I'm not going to stay in denial anymore. You want to live your life like this, I want to live my life like this. We have different dreams, we're inspired by different things. And there'll be someone new who's going to be happy that they live their life like that. And then they might be in a relationship with someone who, kind of like them, could be a little more immature, a little bit more about themselves, a little more deceptive or manipulative, more about being in a relationship for these certain reasons. And then they might end up being stressed. They might kind of want to get out of it, but shadowy energy, represented by the devil at the big picture, we could go indulge in lots of things in the world, right? To try to make us feel better, think is the answer to our problems. Well, the devil gets a hold on you, just like people get in addiction. And some people would maybe want to get out of something, but because it has those things, whatever it is that drives them, motivates them, and they make important in their life, or just a lack of belief in love or believing in themselves, they're going to keep staying in something that is kind of more of an illusion and hiding that they're kind of maybe really stressed out eventually, and kind of feel shadowy energy is feeling trapped and imprisoned. But until they are willing to do this work to overcome those things or people in their life or whatever that manipulate them, they're going to keep living their life like that. And other people are going to be free of some of these things that manipulate them. To go on a new journey, learn new lessons in life, work with different people, learn new skills, look at life differently. Freeing yourself from things that kind of had a stranglehold on you at one time, and they're going to keep staying in that stranglehold or find themselves in a situation like that. But because of either this way of living life or how important these things are in their life, they're going to be up in a mental prison about getting out of it. So they'll probably keep indulging their more maintaining an illusion of how wonderful their life is, or how happy they are with the status or the image or whatever they indulge in. And they'll be in a mental prison because it's kind of something that keeps manipulating them, that they, until they're willing to deal with the truth, it's going to keep having a stranglehold on them. So, and it could just be their mind and their kind of more immature nature. So, there you go, Libra. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.